So I've never heard about men getting pregnant. I've never heard about this argument. It must be some part of what you call the far left that is so minuscule that I, who am...
No, Jane.
What?
It's not minuscule, and I'm sorry, you can't throw this back on us. I assume it's because you are locked into media that just never wants anyone in their audience to know anything sketchy about...
On the latest episode of Club Random, Bill Maher completely shredded Jane Fonda's woke talking points, and it was pure chaos in real time. Fonda walked in expecting another friendly echo chamber but quickly realized she was sitting across from Maher, the anti-woke sniper, locked, loaded, and ready to challenge everything.
Was it about a garage door?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that is...
No, you know this about California. Come on.
No, I don't.
Well,
I'm sorry, I don't.
You don't? You've never heard that California is overtaxed and overregulated? That we are a one-party state where there's sort of no checks on that sort of extreme leftism. And what do you think?
I don't for a minute consider California a state that is extreme leftist. Not at all, not any way.
Well, that shows where your politics are.
There's so much to unpack here. Jane Fonda lives so deep inside the Hollywood bubble that she seems to have forgotten what the real world even looks like. Surrounded by cameras, applause, and self-congratulating activists, she's begun mistaking the movie set for reality itself. In her world, catchy slogans replace logic, and moral posturing passes for deep thought. But Bill Maher? He's not buying it for a second. He came armed with sharp wit and reality checks, ready to burst that overinflated Hollywood fantasy balloon. With every question, he dragged Fonda closer to the ground, back to planet Earth, where real people live, work, and face the consequences of their words. Grab your popcorn. This clash was brutal and unfiltered.
They became the birthers, they became the Tea Party. There's about a third of this country that's very hard right. Of course they love Trump. When he left office, he had an approval rating of 34%. So he really only had those people. Why is he now, like, tied? Because the other part of the coalition are people who, they don't really like him that much. They just think the far left has gone so nutty on so many issues.
That's what they're being told.
That's what they...
By people like you.
Because it's true. You think the far left does nothing crazy?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
You can practically feel the tension buzzing in the air as these two gear up to go head-to-head. It's that sharp electric silence before the verbal punches start flying. But here's where it gets truly ironic. Jane Fonda accuses Bill Maher of exaggerating when he says the far left is losing its grip, only to turn around and admit that, yeah, maybe they are going a little crazy. Classic. It's the far left playbook in real time. Deny, deflect, then accidentally prove your opponent right. The double standard is so baked in, it's practically instinct at this point. Maher knows it. The audience knows it. And Fonda? She's about to get a masterclass in how her own words can turn into the knockout blow. Let's keep going.
Who is the far left? What do you mean when you say far left?
I mean, I could give you a million examples.
Yeah, well, give me one.
Okay, the NAACP.
You think the NAACP is far
left? Could I
left?
finish my sentence?
Yes.
You asked me for an example.
Yeah.
Travel advisory, that's like the State Department does to go to, I'm sure when you went to Vietnam, they were advising you not to. There's a war on it.
I didn't talk to them. I don't have no...
I know, but you know a travel advisory.
Yeah.
Today we have them for very dangerous countries.
Yeah.
Don't go to North Korea. Don't go to Iran.
Yeah.
Do you know where they issued a travel advisory for Black people not to go?
Yeah.
Florida. Every day there's stories like that that just makes people roll their eyes and go, are you people nuts? Even if they don't matter that much, I don't think one person listened to this and thought, I can't go to Florida. But they just suggest something to the average person, which I completely understand, which is, wow, do you people ever find anything that's ridiculous?
Woke isn't just a mindset. It's evolved into a full-blown ideology that's managed to infiltrate everything from culture and politics to entertainment and everyday speech. It's an ideology that proudly wages war on common sense, twists science into activism, and rewrites history to serve a sanitized, feel-good narrative. In this world, facts become optional, logic turns offensive, and emotion is crowned as the ultimate truth. That's the real danger. It's no longer about equality, it's about control through moral intimidation. Maher touched on that idea, but part of you wishes he'd gone further, really pulled the pin. Maybe he's still cautious about alienating his liberal base. Still, it has to be said, woke culture isn't progress. It's the slow, quiet erosion of reason itself.
Do you really think men can get pregnant? You know, that kind of stuff. And I understand that a trans woman can get pregnant. That's different than a man getting pregnant. Insist on blurring that line as if that's some sort of reasonable social cause, as opposed to just being for having full rights, respect, and protection for trans people.
Trans women cannot biologically become pregnant. That's simply a scientific fact. Maher's point hits the mark when he argues that the trans rights movement should prioritize equality, dignity, and freedom, rather than trying to rewrite biology. There's an important distinction between demanding respect and demanding that everyone deny basic science to affirm an ideology. When the conversation shifts into extremes, like claiming men can give birth, or that gender is entirely detached from sex, it alienates potential allies and undermines legitimate causes. True progress comes from protecting individual rights, encouraging open dialogue, and fostering understanding, not from shaming, silencing, or forcing belief. Respect and reason can coexist, and that's the balance society should strive for.
So I've never heard about men getting pregnant. I've never heard about this argument. It must be some part of what you call the far left that is so minuscule that I, who am...
No, Jane.
What?
It's not minuscule, and I'm sorry, you can't throw this back on us. I assume it's because you are locked into media that just never wants anyone in their audience to know anything sketchy about...
And that was the knockout moment. Jane Fonda tried to pivot so fast it could have caused whiplash. One minute she's defending the far left, and the next she's pretending she's never heard anyone say men can get pregnant. Come on, Jane, that line's been shouted from every woke podium, college lecture hall, and social media thread for years. You can't just erase it because it's inconvenient. When she realized she'd cornered herself, she scrambled for cover, insisting the woke crowd only makes up a tiny piece of the Democratic Party. But Maher wasn't letting that slide. With one razor-sharp comeback, he reminded her that this isn't a fringe belief anymore. It's become mainstream within progressive circles. That exchange said it all: denial, deflection, and the desperate attempt to reshape reality, all unfolding live on camera.
Well,
And that's...
I mean, I don't know. I read two papers, and maybe I don't. I should watch Fox News.
No,
I guess.
I don't watch that. That's too far. But you don't have to. I'm not going to torture myself.
And that's how the conversation came to an awkward close, with Jane Fonda practically conceding defeat. Cornered and clearly uneasy, she tried to laugh it off by saying she wished she'd watched more Fox News. But that wasn't just a joke. It was a rare moment of honesty. It exposed how insulated she's been inside her Hollywood echo chamber, surrounded by people who all think the same and clap on cue. While she's been basking in the comfort of that world, reality outside her bubble has shifted. Maher didn't argue to humiliate her. He simply held up a mirror. And for the first time, she saw just how far that bubble has drifted from the real world. Sometimes the truth doesn't need to shout. It just needs to burst the illusion.
That certainly has been the history of this country, was police who were all too willing to shoot black people. So defund the police, though, was not a good idea. And you know who mostly didn't think it was a good idea was black people, because they want police in their neighborhoods, probably more than we need them in ours.
That's exactly the issue with woke culture. It runs on emotion instead of reflection. The loudest activists rarely pause to consider long-term consequences. They just chase the next moral high until it backfires. Remember the defund the police movement? It was once the rallying cry of progressives and even parts of the black community. But when crime spiked and safety crumbled, reality came knocking. Those same neighborhoods that led the chance were left dealing with the fallout, realizing just how essential law enforcement actually is. It's a harsh lesson in how impulsive, feel-good activism often harms the very people it claims to help.
But the Republicans tried to catch the Democrats with this, and they put this on, they brought it up in Congress,
Yeah.
and all the Democrats voted against it. The Democratic politicians were not for defunding the police. It's that radical fringe that has captured a lot of the media, academia, some of these cultural institutions that are not liberal anymore by my old school liberalism. The ACLU was all about free speech. They don't really believe in it anymore. They believe, in one of their chief people who is trans said, I will die on this hill of banning this book.
Exactly, Maher nailed it. The woke left has seized control of the Democratic Party's narrative, dictating what can be said, how it's said, and who's allowed to say it. The moderates, once the backbone of liberalism, now tiptoe around truth, terrified of being labeled intolerant. Anyone daring to question the dogma faces immediate exile, online mob attacks, canceled careers, and relentless character assassinations. This isn't progress. It's ideological tyranny dressed as virtue. Maher's warning is clear. Unless the left regains its courage and re-embraces open debate, the movement will collapse under the weight of its own extremism. The woke fringe doesn't represent progressives. It's actively destroying them from within.
Top story. Most voters say U.S. can't repair severe divisions. They went into the fact that 5 years ago, even during the pandemic and during the George Floyd protests, even then, people thought, well, we are going to get through this. And now they seem to be on the page of, it's not going to happen.
Bill,
what do we do? Did you see the story?
Yeah, and I think what's new about this moment, one of my teachers and friends, Doug Seidman, likes to say this, we aren't divided, we are being divided.
That's right.
By companies for profit, okay? And
we have our divisions, we always have, always has it.
I don't think division just happened. The far left cultivates it. Outrage fuels control. They don't debate. They dictate. Challenge their worldview and you're canceled, shamed, or silenced. It's not inclusivity. It's ideological authoritarianism disguised as virtue. Until the left learns to accept dissent and engage in real dialogue, unity will stay an empty slogan. You can't build bridges when one side keeps burning them.
At some point, you, on your phone, you ordered a yoga mat or something. Your algorithm figured out you're a liberal. Then your neighbor looked up a truck, you're a conservative. And from that day forward, you got different information every day and nobody sent the notice. And so now you literally think your neighbor is insane because how could they possibly think this stuff? But if you put your phone next to their phone, you're in different algorithmic universes, and that is brand new. And
for once, I actually agree with Van Jones on this one. We need a converging universe on social media. A space where conflicting opinions collide instead of being filtered out. Right now, algorithms act like digital babysitters, feeding us only what confirms our biases and shielding us from opposing views. That's not awareness, that's intellectual isolation. If we ever want real dialogue, we must face arguments that challenge and even irritate us. The left should hear the right, and the right should understand the left. Not through outrage clips, but through authentic conversation. Until platforms stop trapping us in echo chambers, we'll keep mistaking comfort for truth, and that's dangerous. And on that note, we wrap up today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the next discussion.